Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel once again. So in today's video I'll show you some simple flowers and leaves. I'm going to use two colors in one single stroke and I'll show you how we can do it step by step. So for today's video I'm using this size 2 round brush, but I have two different size here. As you can see, the white one is size 5 and the black one is size 2. But if you look at the brush, it is almost similar. So sometimes it is also depend on which brand you are using. So I would suggest, if your flowers are small in size, use little smaller brush, and if your flowers are bigger in size, you can use bigger brush, although the technique and the process is similar. So I'm keeping my brush aside and let's start with the today's video. So with the help of pencil, we can decide in which area we want to keep our flowers. So I'm creating an oval kind of shape in this particular area. So I am going to create two groups of flower. So these are tiny flowers but in a group, and then you can have a stem in any direction wherever you like to create, and you can have more flower groups as well. Like you can create one group of flower at the tip as well. I'm going to create one here in the side, and then you can have multiple leaves around it. So the composition is totally up to you. These flowers are imaginary flower, so I don't know if you can relate these flowers with some real flowers or not. So let's rub the unwanted pencil mark so that we can still see the guideline but not very clearly. So something like this you can do to make your life easier, or else you can directly start your painting. That is also totally fine. Now I'm mixing blue and red together to have a different kind of shade altogether. This is more of a magenta or dark pink, you can say, and you can have your own color. You can use purple and blue, or you can use violet and blue. So different color combination you can definitely try. So in this one I'm using blue and this purple color. So what I'm doing is I'm filling my brush completely with one color. So in my case I'm using this dark purple color, and at the tip I'm using blue color. So whatever color you are using in the tip, make sure that color is not very diluted. That has to be little concentrated. I will show you why I'm saying this. Now you can start creating small flowers in a group like these. So I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm using tip of my brush, moving my brush towards left and right to create small petals. These are hanging flowers, so you can have two petals to complete one single flower, and you can have many flowers in a group like this. Now you can see both the colors in one single stroke, as you can see, and that's the beauty of using two tones in a one single stroke. And it is easier to have two different colors in a small flowers or tiny flowers like these, right? So I prefer to use this particular technique whenever I have less time to do something fancy. So I usually use two different color, and for that you can fill your brush with one color, and at the tip you can use different color. Now let's create another group. So again I'm repeating the similar process, creating an oval kind of shape. Now you can define your own flower. You can have complete flower like 5 to 6 petal in a round shape. That kind of thing also you can try. And with these kind of modification you can have your own flowers and leaves. So you can try multiple different kind of flowers with this particular technique, and it is very easy to do. Now we have these two groups, as you can see, and I'm quite happy with the color combination as well. Now I'm using green color. You can use whatever green you have, or you can mix blue and yellow together. Now you can create tiny sepals at the base of each flowers that you have created. These are very tiny in structure, so might be difficult to create sepals, but you don't have to do it for all the flowers that you have. You can simply define these sepals for a couple of flowers that you have, to make sure we have some green element in between these flowers, And then you can also paint small leaf kind of pattern as well, and then connect all the flowers together with main stem. And same thing you can repeat for the second group of flower as well. So let's do the same thing for second flower too. Creating some green element around the flower area, especially if you're creating smaller flowers, is something I feel is important. So I always prefer to do something like this, and I'm using only tip of my brush, and my brush size is size 2, which is very tiny, at least for my brand. I will mention the brand name in the description section. If you want, you can have a look into that. And then create a main stem connecting these two groups of flower together. You can have the main stem little thicker as compared to the tiny stems that we have created in between the flowers that we have. Now let's create another group. So for this group, again I'm repeating the same thing what we did for the other two. The only difference is you can switch the color. So this time I'm filling my brush with the help of blue color and using the purple color for the tip. So choice is yours, what kind of color combination you needed, and accordingly you can have different shades of flower. So in this one you might see more blue as compared to the purple. In the first two we have more purple as compared to the blue. So something like this you can try and repeat the same thing what we did for the first two flower that we have. So again, once you're done with the flowers, you can have some tiny stems and leaves around that particular area. And once done, we are going to paint our leaves. You can do the same thing for the leaves as well. You can try one lighter shade of green and darker shade of green, and you can have these two-tone leaves as well if you want to do something like that. Now let's finish this flower with multiple leaves around the stem area that we have. So I'm creating my own green. I have this lighter green which is too light, I guess. So I'm planning to create my own. So I'm mixing blue and yellow together. Now it is important what kind of blue and what kind of yellow you are using. So for the first shade I am using Indian yellow color and ultramarine blue. I'm getting something like this. For the second one I'm using lemon yellow color and cobalt blue. So see, two different shades of green altogether. So it is totally depend on what kind of blue and what kind of yellow you are using to make green. Now these two color are different but very similar, and I'm using very diluted color, so you might not see the difference or the transition of two colors like we have in the flower, right? So that is why the concentration of color is also important. So whatever color you are using at the tip of your brush, make sure that color is more on the concentrated side. Now let me show you how. So I'm making it more concentrated, mixing more color into it, and I'm mixing more yellow into the second color to make it more lighter so that we can see the transition of color. Now let's try one more leaf, and as you can see we are getting a little hint of yellow as well. So likewise you can have two tone in a single stroke for the leaves as well. Now my motive here is to make multiple leaves around my flowers. So I am creating one stroke leaves. So to create one stroke leaves, you just need to understand how much pressure you need to apply into your brush and in which direction you want to move your brush, and accordingly you can have a beautiful leaf shape. So I'm creating leaf with sap green color, I'm creating leaf with phthalo green that I have in my palette, and maybe I can use other green shade as well later on, but let's create multiple leaves around these stems that we have. Now all the leaves are in similar shape. You can combine two strokes together to create a little bigger leaf, but I'm creating these small leaves You can keep the direction of leaf different, creating different angle and perspective, and that is something important as well because we are creating a group of leaves, so perspective is also important. And then you can extend the stem a little bit and you can create more leaves around it. You can create couple of leaves at the bottom of the flowers that you have created, and these things are totally up to you. Basically you can define your own composition, as I said earlier as well. Now I'm quite happy with my leaves. Now I'm mixing more red into my green. So when you mix red into your green, you will get more darker color. So with this particular dark color, I'm going around my stem area to make stems little darker as compared to the leaf. So I'm going around the stem area, and I am also thinking to create a in between note from where the leaves are coming, so you can make those areas little darker. Now I'm going around my leaf and I'm creating center line for all the leaves that I have. These are detailing which we are doing. So if you're comfortable, you can have more fine detailing into your leaf area, or else you can keep it simple. So I'm not doing anything fancy as such because I want to keep it simple. So I'm adding more lines in between the leaves and I'm creating couple of more leaves with darker shade. Because we are using darker shade, you can definitely do a little bit of overlapping between the leaves, and whenever you are doing some overlapping, make sure your previous color have dried completely. And we are almost done with today's video. Hope this video is simple for you guys and easy to follow. Please do let me know if you have any kind of feedback for me, and thank you so much for watching. See you all in the next video.